Omar is not coming indeed. We have taken over the channel for the next 2 hours. I'm, of course, Dom. And with me, I have three of some of my favorite people and my amazing friends in the world. To my right is none other than
Lars Pearson, publisher and editor-in-chief of Mad Norwegian Press, formerly of Wizard Magazine. And it's a great pleasure to be here today. And, of course, these free-floating, open-style Q&As are, to my mind, when things really get dangerous. Because without a format or a specific topic, I mean, we could wind up talking about anything, including Jess's history as a solid gold dancer. Boy, yeah, there's a big X factor hanging over everything today.
Pretty impressive. And Tony says hi to you, Lars. To the bottom of me is none other than...
My name is Kurtis, and Dom is going to let Jess go last so he can hold up the face mask as long as possible. Go ahead, Jess. Do it.
That was Kurtis of Epic Marvel Podcast, and I am Omnidog from Omnidog's Vault on YouTube, rocking my new birthday present.
Oh, okay. Very nice. You are a puppy. A Kryptonian
Thank you.
puppy.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Jess. Happy birthday.
Yes,
many
happy returns. Yeah.
Thank you.
Is it actually today? Is this the actual day?
It was yesterday.
Yesterday, okay.
Yeah, I got this yesterday and had and celebrated. I did like a 5.5 hours Hobbit. I had a Hobbit birthday according to Lars.
I had to explain he had a Hobbit birthday because he gave presents away. He gave people presents rather than receive presents. So I said, yeah, that's a Hobbit birthday.
Yeah, I gave gave away a bunch of books and toys, and thank you, Lionheart, and stuff, and it was a lot of fun. And then I had a birthday with my family, and that was even more fun. Awesome. Thank you, Bloss.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Jess, every time you peel the mask off, I always want to go, oh, it was Old Man Omnidog the whole time. I feel like I'm in a Scooby-Doo movie.
I'd have gotten away for it if it wasn't for those.
Not for you. With Omar gone, I kept thinking, is there any way to merge us together to form an Omar? And I don't really think there is. Like if you merge Jess and I, Omar, and I all have 4-letter names, and Jess has a goatee, but it kind of ends there. That's about it.
Yeah.
Where is Omar?
He is way out of town. He's in a conference meeting.
Okay.
Oh, he's at a toy show with his daughter. He told me that. I had him on my. I'm not
fancy name for toy show.
I'm not revealing anything that he didn't already reveal himself. He and I think Lydia are at a toy show.
Okay.
In Ohio. Thank you.
Look at all the happy birthdays. Yes,
thank you very much.
Who's got a vasectomy this week? No, I told you the vasectomy was 2 weeks ago. Please get your facts straight. In the chat.
Indeed. Happy Omar.
So Partworks Comics. Part weird, part works. How dare you?
But real quick, before we get to the Q&A, I do have 2 omnibuses to talk about, one of which was in the DC catalog, finished everything out, and I do have a Marvel announcement to make for the next couple of minutes. So if I may...
Lay it on us.
Let me go ahead and share my screen.
We are here.
All right. First of these books is the Young Justice Omnibus Volume 2 at $125, 1,200 pages, coming out on the 26th of January is what I have there. Anyways, this is going to collect Young Justice 20 to 55, Robin 101, Superboy 91 and 99, Impulse 78 and 85, Secret Files and Origins Guide to the DC Universe 2000 #1, Our Worlds at War #1, JLA, JSA, Secret Files #1, and Titans, Young Justice Graduation Day 1, 2, 3.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Anything to finish the Peter David catalog is appreciated.
Yeah, they
Oh, Todd Knock. Yeah. I've never read this, but I always liked the artwork in it.
It is very fun. One of my favorite team books, I think, ever published in history.
Yeah, it's a different groove from Peter's other team books because, I mean, one of the things that makes him appealing is that, Peter can do drama and comedy all at the same time. I mean, he is so funny, but he's also quite serious. And like you read X Factor and quite adult things happen. there's less of an expectation to that here. He's not going to torture his characters, like he does in some other series. But no, it's a lot of fun. Absolutely a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And on top of this, DC actually did manage to finish out the trade paperbacks, for this line that came out a couple of years ago. But I'm really glad that we're finally getting it in omnibus form. I'm really happy for this specific book to come out.
I realized that I'm enough of a Peter David fan that I've bought basically all the omnibuses and everything, and I realized that I should probably get a proper collection of Soul Searchers and Company. That's the level to which now that's the only stuff left I have to buy.
There you go. Look at that, Lars finishing out the Peter David run of everything, and the second. Go ahead, sorry.
The Peter David Oeuvre, or however you pronounce it.
Yes, indeed. And the announcement I would like to formally make, this is for Marvel, is that people have been asking where Kelly Thompson's Captain Marvel Omnibus number 2 is.
Okay.
They are not calling it Captain Marvel Omnibus number 2. Instead, if I may, they are calling it Highest, Furthest, Fastest Omnibus. This is going to come out next year in June. We don't have a set in stone date, but they are rebranding the name. I'm not sure the contents, as Marvel did not give those out to us yet, but it is coming, and I can't wait for it to come out.
Got it. Name that just awesome. It just rolls off your tongue.
Yes.
Highest, furthest, fastest. Like Sylvester.
A lot of people look say. So there you go.
I am pretty excited at this.
I don't know if the covers are going to be the same. Marvel did not. Again, they didn't send the covers. As far as I'm concerned, there should be no changes with the issues that are collected in here. It's just a name rebrand for the sake of the name rebrand. I kind of wish that they did a volume 1 and 2 like all in, like they did with the Kelly Sue DeConnick Captain Marvel run, but alas, what can I do there?
They seem to have really gotten in the groove that numbering is poison to their sales. And I mean, I don't know if it is, it is. I guess that's a problem. It hasn't been a problem for some decades now, but if they've suddenly decided that this route's better, I mean, I question how many additional copies of this are they going to shift because it doesn't have the number 2 on it.
Right.
But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Kurtis, do you have any thoughts on this?
Well, numbering absolutely does affect it. But maybe not for a volume 2.
Volume 2 of the same creator.
Yeah. The whole. I remember in the early 2000s, whenever they launched a new title, there would always be a variant issue of number 2 because they wanted to make sure they boosted the sales of the second issue to catch people in, so they weren't just buying the first one. Now that's single issues, but I know also that because I work with the Library of American Comics, and we had a lot of different series going on, like Little Orphan Annie, and we got to the numbers for the first 2 volumes were super, super good. And then as we got to volume 12 and 11, 13, not in that order, 11, 12, 13, the numbers just got abysmal. People weren't buying them. And it's not because the content was bad. It was pretty much the same before. But people just don't want to jump into a volume 13 randomly if they find it in the store.
True. Okay, here's my question, though. If they'd scrubbed the numbers and given them all individual titles, would
that be different?
Would it? How much different would it be?
Well, you would still retain all of the same people who are collecting it ongoing, so that number wouldn't change.
Well, you wouldn't have lost those people anyway.
But yeah, exactly. But you might get some other people who would buy it on impulse or something like that.
This is the thing. You might. I don't know. It feels a bit ephemeral to me because are they going I don't want to start with volume 12, or is it just that they don't actually want 12 volumes of? I don't know.
And that's also part of it for sure. They don't need 12 volumes of Little Orphan Annie, or they just can't afford to keep it up or whatever. I think price point hurts that as well. Yeah. I think people, one of the comments, I think James says here in the comments, the volume numbers don't seem to hurt manga, but those are $10 volumes. And so people can commit to it. And there's a huge culture around manga that is not the same as Omnibus. It's a completely different culture. People aren't going to buy into $100 book series as easily.
Yeah.
I guess my question is like maybe in the future, whenever they decide to reprint Captain America by Ed Brubaker Volume 1, do you just by any chance just say, just screw it, let's call it Captain America, the Winter Soldier, or something like that instead of Volume 1?
Yeah.
They kind of all have different names as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess especially with these high-priced omnibuses, I'm struggling a little bit to see the mentality of just casually buying one of these things that, well, it doesn't have the number 2 on it, so I'm utterly unclear on the content, and so I will just casually buy it because it has a higher, faster title on it.
Well, I mean, you don't have that problem, I guess, but there are people who are like, well, I don't want to just have a random number 2 on my shelf, so I'm not going to buy it. Now, the interesting thing is that the Captain America, like the Death of Captain America Omnis, the recent reprints, they added the number to the back because they weren't there in the original printing, and then when they reprinted recently, they decided to put it on the back, Volume 1 or Volume 2.
Yeah.
And why can't they just, or maybe they will do that with this one? I don't know.
I guess, yeah. Maybe there's no easy answer to this. Times and places where they've scrubbed the numbers. So, the Doctor Who novels back in the day, they were a series like the Eighth Doctor Adventures. And they didn't do volume numbers, right? So you have just a ton of volumes on the shelf with just a bunch of names, and like I think newcomers found it confusing because there's just a ton of books on the shelf, and it's like, well, where do I start? And you're like, well, just grab one. Yeah, I mean, volume in the sense of getting large gets a bit confusing no matter what.
Yeah.
Adam says they did the volume scraping, volume naming for those Carl Duck, Duck books. Sales numbers on those books will answer Lars's question.
Yeah.
They also did that one. They didn't put the numbers on there because they wanted to release them out of order and didn't want to confuse people. So they didn't put numbers on the covers specifically for that. But yeah, you're right. I mean, that was great because you can pull. And that one doesn't matter because there's no real continuity in any of those Duck books. You can buy any one of them and have it on your shelf, and you don't have to be burdened with the fact that you don't have a complete set.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are suggesting maybe put a blurb on the back of it like they did with the most recent Captain America Omnis, as Kurtis has talked about. I just do find it interesting that there has been big shift, I guess, towards Marvel, what the difference is between, say, a Deadpool and X-Force Omnibus versus calling New Avengers by Bendis, getting that a Volume 2 out instead of calling it New Avengers Secret Invasion or something like that. I just find it interesting that they have decided to go different routes for different titles.
I definitely think that it should be standard practice in all of the Marvel and maybe even DC books that there's a page at the front or at the back that tells here are the books that come directly before it, and here are the books that come directly after it. So that the context, or if you want to see what's before or whatever, it should always be there, so that you know which volume of Amazing Spider-Man you're reading.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
John even says largely losing logic instead of emotion.
Because I'm a Vulcan.
I mean, I will say, say if I'd never read a comic before and I saw hey, there's this really big Captain Marvel book on the shelf. I've never read Captain Marvel before. I don't know that there's anything before it. Maybe that makes me go and after, but to your guys' point, they're not exactly cheap books.
Right.
These are $100 plus tomes that are put together, and it's very much for a specific market instead of the whole sales of it also.
Yeah. I mean, going to John's point, it all sounds nice in theory. I would love to have some hard data on this to see whether it actually works or not. As part of a discussion, I mean, Kurtis, don't you also find that the bust up of Diamond and whatnot, man, tracking sales in today's market is the hardest it's been in decades.
Yeah, absolutely. It used to be that, well, and even when Diamond was around, it only took into account the direct market sales.
True.
And it didn't take into account the book sales at all.
No, true,
the book market.
However,
but yes, majority of the stuff did flow through Diamond, and so it was a good benchmark. And you could at least, like when Chromicon was releasing those numbers, that was really, really helpful.
Very helpful. Very helpful.
And now that we have it from 3 different distributors, right? It's Books I think are all over the place now, and like it's been really hard to like find specific, even like ICVM2 or whatever the site's called. Sometimes I found that site somewhat unreliable when I'm trying to find like the final matter of it all. Like it's not out there.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry, everyone. We do have vibrant inner lives, and we've just evolved into talking about geeky stats.
I think
that's why you're here.
I've never heard about the number scrubbing or anything else. I think this is all really interesting. This is actually fun listening to you guys talk about it, because I hadn't heard about any of this before.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm the loser's loser because I don't even know what the losers are talking.
No, 1,000 times no.
Jess, if there's a hot new character that you're willing to check out, would you buy a volume that had a number 2 if you've never read the number 1, an omnibus?
No, I understand that. No, I wouldn't.
But would you be fooled if instead of a volume 2, it just had a title on it? But at some point, you're gonna have to look at the content and go, what issues does this collect? And it might start twiggling with you. Oh, this begins with issue 37.
Yeah, I just was not prepared for the fact that after seeing things like Conan Omnis 1 through 10 and all 5 Cap Brubaker books, Amazing Spider-Man 1 through 6, Fantastic Four, things like that, and Wolverine. We just talked about Wolverine, and he's got like 5 or 6 volumes out. It just never occurred to me that there was a serious drop off in omnibus format with the number 2. I do know that there is, and there always has been, that even since the 70s with single issues, as Kurtis was saying, excuse me, because I remember when I was at Baltimore Con and seeing, I would take, I found my, this was my favorite thing that I bought in the 70s. I had Night Nurse Volume 1, not Volume 1, Issue 1, Night Nurse, which I used for talks in my daughter's elementary school. And I'd say, it's hard to find Amazing Spider-Man number 1, but try and find Night Nurse number 1. And if I could go to any, I could sell it for $100, but then I wouldn't have it. And I can get $100 at an ATM. And then I showed it to my friend in Baltimore, and he said, number 2 is way harder to find than number 1. I was like, oh, of course, that makes sense.
Yeah, sometimes. And
number 2 had like half the numbers, of course, of Night Nurse. Nobody bought number 1 but me. And I didn't buy number 2. So there were 0 sales.
Right.
You cornered the market on Night Nurse number 1. You were like, what were they called? The Hunts brothers? They cornered the silver market in the 80s.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's when I was in...
caused a huge crash. You're like the Hunts brothers, but for comics.
That's when I was in college. And we used that. We talked about that in my business class.
Yeah.
They had a margin call and got wiped out.
Yeah, they really did.
That sounds about right, because I remember learning something like that, Jess, when I was in business admin back in community college, and I was like, oh, this is interesting stuff that they're throwing out there.
About the Hunt brothers, or about my issue 2 of Night Nurse?
How about both?
Oh. I'm used again in teaching and not given credit. I can't stand it. Part of the curriculum.
Teachers aren't given enough credit. It's true.
I completely agree with that. And to that point, here is a question that we can't ask since we are on the subject. How do our hosts feel about omnis, which are creator titled, like Van Omnibus by Cates and Stegman, if they're functionally a volume, whatever that might be?
Well, I have thoughts, but you gents go ahead.
I hate creator focused books if it's something because they're not a continuous story. If it only contains, okay, wait, let me back that up. I dislike creator owned books because they generally don't have a continuous story, like Spider-Man by Eric Larson. It's just gonna have the Eric Larson issues in there, or it could be a pretty choppy reading experience since it only has the Eric Larson stories in there, or McFarlane, something like that. So I tend to not like creator focused omnis since they're not a continuous reading experience. Oh, peace and love, Nick. Thank you. So that's just my feeling on it as a reader.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, I'll go next, and Kurtis, you can cast the tie vote because I love them.
Okay.
I think I love them because well, on the whole, I mean, not every single one, but I never got the completist virus, and so for me, there's many properties or characters or series that I love them primarily through the lens of a particular creator. I mean, I do love and adore Peter David Aquaman. I do not give two about Aquaman otherwise. I just don't. And so, give me a Peter David Aquaman omnibus because I'm not going to buy Aquaman otherwise. And there's tons of series that are like this. I will buy Christopher Priest Deathstroke. I don't collect Deathstroke otherwise.
Well, yeah, but aren't those all both of those examples? They're continuous stories.
Well,
like Christopher Priest wrote all of Deathstroke, and
sure.
Aquaman was all under Peter David. I hear
what you're saying. Yeah, but that, yes, I hear what you're saying. That sort of thing is far more frequent though than what you're describing. Because if you only collect Steve Ditko issues of Legion of Superheroes, it gets very choppy. I agree with you. Most of the time, though, it's not like that. Most of the time, Peter David Aquaman, Deathstroke by Christopher Priest, it is a continuous story.
Okay, those are both DC books, which make sense.
Frank Miller, Daredevil, Jason Aaron, Doctor Strange.
But Jason Aaron, Doctor Strange is a continuous story.
But I think it's that way far more often than what you're describing. What you're describing does happen, but I don't think it happens as often. Admittedly, some of the Steve Ditko collections get very choppy. I agree with you. That doesn't.
Well, there's one like how about the Marvel Universe by John Byrne?
Yeah, that's an example.
I don't buy those.
Why?
Because again, usually I'm invested in like John Byrne, Fantastic Four or John Byrne, whatever. Just a slush pile of John Byrne stuff. I'm a little less interested because it's a slush pile. But again, aren't we describing? I don't think that's the default model for most of these. I think, especially these days when they're going like Daredevil by Chip Zdarsky, it's pretty much just boom, Zdarsky writing. So, I agree with you. The choppy ones can get to be a problem, but
I don't mind what you're describing. I mean, Doctor Strange by Jason Aaron, that's a continuous run and a really good run, and all those other ones you named too.
Yeah, Kurtis, what do you think?
So I think that the ones that are labeled by writer are a lot more consecutive than the ones that are labeled by artist.
Probably
because the artist isn't necessarily doing the continuous run, just because it's a lot harder for an artist to do that. So if you're talking about artist omnis, then you have a much easier time with that. I think that I'm of two minds. Personally, I don't like or buy the ones that are just labeled by creator, because I'm more interested in the ongoing unfolding history of the character of the title. So I'm going to prioritize buying those books over the creator-centric ones. But at the same time, creator-centric ones are important for the creators. They're important because that gets their name out there even more. Not that John Byrne needs someone to someone to promote his name. They do that because his name sells books. But a new creator on the scene, like there was a time when Chip Zdarsky wasn't a household name, and when an omnibus came out that was just his stuff, that's great for his career. I think that's an important thing to do.
I have a question that maybe you can answer, Kurtis, because I just assume this, and do like in the case of Tim Sale, somebody in the comments when I was doing a collected editions show said, yeah, they made sure to get Tim Sale's name on the cover of the book so his family would get the royalties. Is that generally true, that if your name is on the book cover, that it's a different royalty situation than if he was just like.
I don't think
don't
that's
think
actually true, but Kurtis would know.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that that's not the case. I don't
Oh,
think so. There might be different royalty rates just in general, like Tim Sale's going to make a higher royalty rate than the letterer, whoever the letterer on the book is, if the letterer even gets a royalty rate. I don't know. It all depends on probably what the pre-existing contracts are.
Yeah.
For if in Tim Sale's case, when he signed on to do Daredevil Yellow, there was probably some sort of royalty stipulation for future reprints in that contract, and so it kind of has to go with whatever that says.
Yeah.
So I don't think that putting his name on it actually
Yeah.
helps, except that fans of Tim Sale will buy the book because
No,
it's now in it's in their scope, and then he'll get more royalties because more people are buying it.
my understanding, and I could certainly be incorrect about this, is that the royalties are assigned by the content, by the issue. So, like for example, Tim drew some issues of Legends of the Dark Knight. So if he's entitled to royalties off those comics, it doesn't matter if they get reprinted in a collection with his name on them or that doesn't have his name on them. He would still be entitled to the royalties or not. Now, again, as Kurtis says, if you put in a collection with Tim Sale, it can be a lightning rod for people who like Tim Sale. And also, he will then have many, many issues in that book. Therefore, his royalties will be increased because now you're selling them a whole bunch of Tim Sale issues as opposed to just 1, 2, 3 issues or whatever it is. No, I don't think that changes the royalty scheme.
So
but it can increase sales in their favor.
Maybe I misread what I read then. Maybe what both you're saying is what the actual case is, that it would attract more people to the book because his name's on it. Therefore, he'd get more royalty sales. Okay.
Unless there's been a shift in recent years that contracts are written to say, oh, if we put your name on something, you'll get this. I haven't really heard about that happening, but if it did happen, it would be a fairly recent phenomenon.
I'm sure it's what you two are talking about. Yeah. I'm sure it is. And I want people to realize, yes, I'm willing to sacrifice half my head to show off my crypto t-shirt.
Actually, the thing is, the more cagey creators probably should insert a clause to that end. I mean, it's not actually a stupid thing to insert. Can
we call it the Omni Dog rule?
I've just not yet heard of it being done. Yeah.
Okay.
And especially
we're gonna call it that.
Thank you.
If a comic book company is going to purposely put the name of a creator on the book because they know the name is going to sell, then shouldn't that creator be able to have a higher rate because their name obviously means more than what it was before?
Okay.
I do know that at least for super recent, omnibuses that are coming out from DC, whether it be a Flash by Joshua Williamson or Nightwing by Tom Taylor, Ramvi spoke to me about DC talking or emailing them saying, "Hey, we're gonna print out an omnibus or a deluxe edition of this, and you'll get X, Y, and Z in regards to that." So I think buys like some of those recent trends, at least for the most recent stuff, if they are omnibusing it or oversizing it, whether it may have you, that they are getting extra details and some royalties on top of that. So I think for that, it's a fairly recent trend. What you guys are stipulating, though, I'm not sure of the specifications with, like Tim Sale drew Daredevil Yellow #1. He should get XYZ because of, royalty. But I have no idea about that. But I know at least for recent books, it's been a lot more of the trend to give creators, whoever wrote it, whatever it might have you, royalties for that specific book with the omnibus, deluxe, whatever, instead of the rest. So those are my
and every contract is different. Marvel may have a standard contract they send out initially, but people can change it or alter it or negotiate. So what's standard for one person may be completely different for another creator, and then things evolve over the years as well. Maybe Tim Sale's contracts are only for 20 years, and then after that, the estate can go back and say, "Hey, we're renegotiating" or something.
They are kind of all over the place. the other thing is, yeah, and I'm not allowed to, some stuff even more recently that even stuff from the 80s, you would think they'd be getting royalties off that. That's not necessarily the case. I was talking to I'm not allowed to name names, but I was talking to some creators and a collection came out and I'm like, oh, isn't it great? You'll get some money off that. Like, no, we won't. I mean, the weird thing is, as Kurtis says, the contracts are all over the gamut, and there are some books that appear with a creator's name on it. This is a collection by this writer, and they get zero. They get zero. I mean, it does happen. It depends on what. Yeah, it is. No, it's a total shame. It's a total shame. Yeah.
A couple quick comments before we move on. Jim says to Kurtis, I appreciate all the hard work you've done for the Library of American Comics hardcovers.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
2 super chats in. I'm gonna get to go over this. Earth Geomancer. We are delighted.
You are too kind. You are
thank you very much.
Good to see you.
Thank you for that.
And you're paying us, which is remarkable. Or you're paying Omar, which is remarkable.
Yeah, what's the deal?
And Mark J says, I'm new to collecting comics and creator collections has been the most disappointing realization. Hot mess to newcomers, events and character history instead, please.
I would slightly push back against that, and that sometimes creator collections, it is designed as an access point. It is designed as a jumping on point. Changing creative teams often does give an opportunity to say, okay, we're going to ease in. This is the new way it's being done. So I think often it is an access point, but it depends.
It does. I think it just depends on the book. It literally, I mean, there are a billion of them out there, right? So it depends on what you're purchasing and whatnot. And sort of to that point, Owen did say a couple of minutes ago, did you see how much better the new Green Lantern compendium is compared to the John's omnibuses? So yeah, Green, if I can, let me see if I can pull up the mapping of said.
Yeah, I'd like to know what that is because I don't know.
I was distracted there. What was the question?
Let me go ahead and see if I still have it.
He said the Green Lantern by John's compendiums are mapped better than the Omnis.
Oh, well, that could certainly be the case. Yeah.
Yes. See if I can get a picture of. Okay.
Hindsight is a wonderful thing.
Apologize for the. Okay, let me share my screen. This is what the new thing looks like. So here is Green Lantern Compendium 1 Rebirth. So this is going to collect the first 17 issues of Green Lantern along with the Rebirth miniseries, Secret Files #1, Ranthanagar War 1 through 6, which is not included in the John's Omni Volume 1, Green Lantern Corps 1 through 6, Recharge 1 through 5, Guy Garner Collateral Damage, which has never previously been collected before, Iron Guardian of the Universe, issues 1 through 12, which is a Ron Marr series based on the brand new status quo for Kyle Rayner, along with the Ranthanagar War Infinite Crisis special. So brand new mapping, because the Johns one only has the Jeff Johns written issues.
Okay.
Ranthanagar War is drawn by Ivan Reyes, which ties in with Infinite Crisis. And again, stuff that we just never have seen before. So, anyways.
So there's something for the Jeff Johns fans, and there's something for the people who want the full story.
There's a creator-owned book, Green Lantern, and then there's the complete story in the compendium.
You're correct.
I have, I think Ion. It hadn't been collected in omnibus form, so I put it in the first when I had Green Lantern Corps custom bound before several years ago. I had it leading off what must be some of the Green Lantern Corps stuff, but I don't remember putting in any Ranthanagar War since that was Infinite Crisis.
It was. See if I could get to. Back to this as well. What upcoming DC omnibus are we all excited for, if we have any?
Hi, Bar.
I don't think we have a list in front of us.
No, where could we go that has a place that lists all the upcoming books on the internet?
That would be
you can head over to comicreleases.com where we do have it all the way up to December for all of the Omnis, although I still need to add a couple of the ones on Edelweiss. But nonetheless. We'll answer that. We'll put a tab on that and answer that later, Bar. I want to get to super chat real quick. We know Omar's and Melanie's picks, but who are each of members of the the panel's top 3 superheroes?
What was the question?
Your top 3 superheroes.
Oh, okay.
What a question.
Well, for me, Spider-Man is definitely number 1. I've always loved that character and always will, no matter the highs and the lows.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 and number 3 are going to both be teams because I think they function as one character. Fantastic Four is going to be number 2. And then I'll always love Generation X. That just always has a soft spot in my heart because that was a title that I absolutely loved when I was younger.
I agree with you. I mean, my pattern is much more team books than solo characters. And so, my knee-jerk reaction is probably cheating is to go X-Men, New Teen Titans, and Legion of Superheroes. If you put a gun to my head, it would probably be Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler. Yeah, but you're right. I just think of them as a team. Well, all of the X-Men, really. Yeah.
You know what? Nightcrawler has always been my favorite X-Men because his name is Kurt, spelled with a K, which mine is as well. And as a kid, I don't know, when you're 8 years old, you're like, oh, that superhero has the same name as me. He's my favorite now, and it always has been my favorite. And it just so happens that he's actually a cool character too.
Yes, he is a very cool character. Beyond that, I will say Daredevil's the one that if I am into a solo book, that's the one I'm into. Yeah.
3. Top 3 superheroes. Is this the criteria Kurtis was using? Is you'll buy the book of Spider-Man no matter what? So that would be Harley Quinn for me. I'll buy every single thing she's in, no matter if it's good or bad. And then I would say either Batman and Superman or Emma Frost and X-23. I can't. It depends on my. But I always collect. Well, I always collect. I always collect anything for those characters too. Superman and Batman, even really bad Batman. I threw away Widening Gyre and Cacophony. I root beered them. So that doesn't. I do have some taste in Batman. I'll say Batman and Superman and Harley Quinn.
Okay. Swinging back to the question about DC omnibuses. Yeah, it is shocking that, again, and this has been going on a while now, DC's finally acting like a publisher again. I mean, you finally feel like they have skin in the game. There was a period there of some time where, because they'd fired so many people and they were in a bit of chaos, and they had to put out that press release saying, "Oh, by the way, we're still publishing stuff." It's like, your job description says publisher. For God's sakes, publisher of books. Well, yeah, but now they are ticking a number of significant boxes. I put what do I have on my list? Tom
Taylor
King,
Nightwing, Volume 1.
Tom King, Batman. Birds of Prey, Gail Simone. Secret Six, Gail Simone. Doom Patrol, Keith Giffen. And probably Spectre, John Ostrander. I mean, it's
Ostrander, Mandrake, Spectre is a big one for me.
Yeah. And then it's not an omnibus, but Sandman Mystery Theater Volume 2. Who thought this day would ever come? No, there's a lot to look forward to here. So I believe we're covering the DC catalog on Tuesday.
We are.
Yeah, Tuesday evening.
We are. So if anybody is
in an exhaustive fashion, so I will have a needle of adrenaline to give to my heart to get through that many hours.
I think I'll say Jonah Hex All-Star Western, even though it's been pulled before from us. I think they're actually going to publish it, and that's a big deal. All those paperbacks have been long out of print, and I will totally upgrade to an omnibus. And it also needs if we get 2 volumes of that, then and they sell decently. That means the previous Jonah Hex series by Palmiotti and Gray could get omnis too, which I would love.
Yeah.
What time on Tuesday is the live stream? We don't have any time set in stone yet, but it should be sometime in the afternoon Eastern time.
Yeah, I have a.
I was
I have
told
a time set.
6. I was told 6 Eastern.
Omar called me
So was
yesterday.
I.
He told me that he didn't know yet. So
Oh,
He
okay.
told me 6 also.
he lied to me. But anyways, yeah, no, there's a lot of big things in the DC catalog. I'm super excited for. I still need to make. Actually, I just realized I still need to make a presentation on
Yeah.
it. So that is probably what I will be doing this afternoon.
But Kurtis, you usually poo-poo omnibuses. Are there any DC finest you were looking forward to?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, man! There's so many that the newest round that they just released in the catalog is just incredible. It's full of like so much variety. Peter David's Supergirl, really looking forward to that. Super Friends with Ramona Fradon, I love her work. Static, I've never read that, but the art looks super cool, so I'm gonna give that a shot. This is off the top of my head. Another Batman volume, Red Skies. The tail end of the pre-crisis stuff. That's I've never read any of this, so it's very, very cool. Man, I can't even. Oh, there's a horror book and a war book. Like so much stuff. I'm really excited about all of that. And what I really like is that a lot of this, like, I'm not so much a fan of the DC Silver and Gold Age. So a lot of the stuff that's there is kind of more off that path, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. No, it's an electrifying time. I mean, who would have thought? It's like, oh, the bear has finally woken up. Great.
Yeah.
It feels
It's
good
amazing.
to be a DC fan again.
Yeah. Now some of these will depend if they go the distance, because like the Peter David Supergirl, that's very exciting. I already have the books, the collections that they put. They crapped out with number 4, so I'm like, I could buy this one. I already have them, but now if they keep going and they do all of Peter David Supergirl, great, definitely. But yeah, I already have that one, so I don't know.
Speaking of Supergirl, you can get that if you live in Canada. You can get that at our sponsor, which is none other than BD Cosmos, the Canadian leader in graphic novels. They do have a physical storefront in Montreal, Quebec, and their website BD Cosmos offers 25% off your order of $150 or more, and free shipping Canada for every order 200 or more. I think this ad is a little bit out of date, so don't quote me on that. But nonetheless, their shipping care is exceptional. Your books will stay cozy through the rough Canadian weather and to arrive in near mint condition. After the checkout, let them know that we sent you, and you'll be added to a monthly $25 gift card raffle for both new and returning customers. BD Cosmos, your reliable source for Omnis and Collect Editions in Canada. Eh?
Dom, I congratulate you. That was a seamless and invisible transition.
Hey, I love that.
Well done.
I did it, guys.
Well done.
Oh my god.
Nice.
Okay, it's $250. Thank you, MP. I appreciate that. Yeah, just reading off the ad. I will keep that in noticed. DC could be the ultimate bear, or rather the absolute bear. Oh yeah, that's right. Because we do have 2 different absolute lines coming out. And did you guys unrelated? Did you guys see the absolute Death of Superman, like the special direct market edition cover? By any shot?
I did.
Yes, I don't quite recall.
Let me see. It has the black armband around it.
They're doing a oh yeah, I think we were on stream, Jess. They're doing a special
one that looks like a tombstone.
Yes.
I didn't see that. I saw a black one with a black armband around it. Tombstone.
Yes. Let me see if I can share the actual, because I don't think we got to see the tombstone in full. But yes, this is the direct.
Oh, I didn't see that one. That's the slipcase.
That's the slipcase. This is the inside. See if I can zoom in a little bit.
Not going to fit on your shelf.
And then it's all signed by Dan Jurgens with some
wow.
Yeah, I think pretty impressive stuff, honestly.
Yeah, how much is that? Do you know?
$150, and it's limited to 1,993 copies.
Oh, that's the one that's limited. It's shaped like a tombstone. Okay,
1993.
Yeah, it's a very odd numbering.
Well, that's the year it came out.
Yeah,
started. Of course. Oh god, I'm so embarrassed that I didn't pick up on that. Okay.
And I only picked up on that because I was on the stream.
A very fun impromptu Friday stream, honestly. I don't think I've ever gotten that up early to like do a stream in that capacity before because I needed to put something in. But hey, I'm glad that we got it out. So, indeed. Let me see if I can picture it.
You know, Dom, you are getting so well known now as Dom of X that, you know, my phone, I get a lot of texts and for the guy who had the number previous to me. And this morning there was a text from, I was like, who is this Dominic guy who's texting me? I don't understand. Like, oh, it's Dom.
I actually forget Dom's last name a lot because it's in my phone as Dom of X.
Right.
And it just shows up Dom.
Do you even have a surname? Well, no, it's X, obviously. Yeah.
It's X. Yeah, no, it is. No, I do have a surname, but it's even like in real life because my full name is my full name is 5 names, but my first name is 2 names. Nobody calls me by my 2 names, not even my parents do, right? So it's like I go to different spots in the world and people will call me differently. Like when I go back to the Philippines, people will call me, you know, Dominic James or whatever, Dominic instead of Dom. Like nobody in the Philippines calls me Dom, but like I go here, I'm like, I can't name you one person who doesn't call me Dom. So
right. It was a bit of a shocking reminder. It's like, oh, this is Dom. It's like remembering that, you know, Xavier's middle name is Francis. I mean, it's just very odd.
Right. Yeah. Interesting stuff. Oh, Chris, good morning to you, my friend. Hello.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm at my kids' soccer game, so of course I'm being bored to death.
Well, you could, dude. Does the soccer field that you have like have a big jumbotron, where you can like have them watch the show? There is that a thing, Chris, over at yours? But anyways, let me see if I can.
Creators of late have been more admitting that, especially if you have children and you're forced to suffer through like your 6th graders, you know, band performance or whatever, how much you sit there and script books and conceptualize art and get some work done in your head.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Back to something that also caught. Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil left out the preceding Death of Daredevil issues by Jed McKay, that 4-issue series, because they weren't written by Chip, which also broke up 20 years of fully collected Daredevil in omnibus format.
Well, again, at risk of speaking heresy, if it, then on the whole, if a collection is creator based and it has that creator's name on the cover, I don't want crap written by other people. Unless there's a very good reason. If there's a very good story reason or continuity reason, fine. Otherwise, no. I mean, this is the eternal argument between Omar and myself about whether that Steve Ditko fill-in issue should go in the Frank Miller Daredevil collection. I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with Frank Miller. It has nothing to do with the story. No, it has nothing to do with anything. It's just an issue by Steve Ditko, who's great. No, it's not written by them. Keep it out, unless there's good reason.
There's a good chunk of Daredevil not by Ann Nocenti and JR before her run starts in the latest omnibus.
Sure, I don't. Yeah, well,
but it's also continuity.
It's not written.
It's not written by Nocenti, but it's continuity that leads up to Nocenti. So I don't have a personal problem with that. I did an overview and somebody complained. Okay.
Well, how many issues are we talking about?
I would have to go grab it in the other room, but it's several.
I think it's like 3 or 4 issues. Like one's by Mark Grunwald.
If it's only 3 or 4, get them the hell out of there. Okay, run up previously on if you have to. But also the thing is, remember, we are paying for this. If you're significantly padding that book with, you know, a whole bunch of extra stuff that's not by the creator, and you're charging me another $25, I'd rather pay $25 less.
Okay, I'll be right back.
And frankly, have the omnibus be slightly slimmed down to a, you know, more manageable level. Again, if it's 3 or 4 issues, probably doesn't matter one way or another. But because, like, you know, Peter David's Incredible Hulk run starts right in the middle of things, and that's okay. I don't need 6, 8, 12 issues beforehand to explain to me what's going on when Peter David's run starts.
Okay. I will be counting while you are arguing.
Okay. Well, that's very kind of you. Again, a few issues either way really doesn't matter. But, like, you know, and also you then start to have an argument about well, like Peter David's Hulk run, where is the point that you would be entirely caught up? And that starts to get very subjective.
Indeed.
Maybe I'm wrong. I feel. Wait a sec, because the Innocenti and Barry Windsor Smith have one. There's Innocenti and Sal Buscema. So maybe it is just a couple issues.
Okay. Yeah, I get a couple issues. Either way, doesn't matter. Frankly, I'm a bit perturbed in the Deathstroke by Christopher Priest omnibus that they stuffed it full of Teen Titans issues, which somewhat have a bearing on the continuity, I will admit, but I don't think Priest wrote those.
I'm gonna push back on that, Lars, because those were part of a cross, like those two specific, Titans and Teen Titans cross. I mean, those were specific crossovers.
No. If they're part of a crossover, I do get. There seem to be a lot of them in there, and I'm like, is this really necessary? Because now you've bloated out.
I will say though, some of the crossover, like I think the crossovers are by far the worst part of the Priest run. Like I could not care less about the story where Deathstroke steals Wally West's Speed Force.
Well,
great story.
Yeah, because I was buying the Christopher Priest Deathstroke stuff in the single TPBs.
Me too.
Like I didn't feel particularly lost.
You didn't need them, yeah.
No, I mean, like if there's a little bit going on over on the side that you aren't privy to, it's like, well, you figure it out.
There's also one other big complaint I do have with those trade paperbacks and hardcovers, in that Priest Deathstroke run for when he goes to Arkham and has goes up against all those villains or whatever. Yeah. They made a specific hardcover called Deathstroke versus Arkham.
Yes.
And it wasn't numbered. It wasn't. So back to the point, we were talking about earlier. That
got very odd. You're right. Yeah.
Should we renumber stuff? I'm like, they didn't need to do a separate Deathstroke versus Arkham hardcover. Deathstroke versus whatever it might be. It was insane to me that they did that.
I guess what Kurtis was going to is that they were hopeful that casual buyers who haven't been buying it might go, oh, Deathstroke and these Batman things. Well, maybe I'm interested now, whereas they hadn't been interested before. I suppose that was the logic.
Was it a Deathstroke title? I don't remember.
It was part of Deathstroke, and then was there crossover issues? I can't quite recall. Yeah.
Sometimes they'll make those decisions because Deathstroke is in that movie, and so they need to have a number of books that are titled Deathstroke to sell or whatever. I don't know.
And DC also does manage to sometimes find they'll do covers. Like I remember a recent Batwoman elegy in the Jeff Johns' Stargirl trade paperback. They had the live action TV show covers as the comic book covers to promote the show, and I'm over here sitting like, man, I'd rather look at J.H. Williams' art. But it is what it is. Also, something else that was talked about earlier. So, what's up with the Judas Contract Deluxe? Isn't the DC Finest a better choice? We do need the Omni reprints. I think it's specifically for the readers who just want to read the Judas Contract and don't want to have to bother with all the issues, because it is
wanted in hardcover.
Is it oversized as well? Because that's a selling point.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's oversized.
Yeah.
It's with Perez art, that's definitely a selling point.
I mean, I'm kind of with you on that one, but yeah, it is obviously redundant. But no, they view them as two separate markets, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to remember that the DC Finest line, and I say this in the best possible way, is kind of quick and dirty.
Yeah, it's a budget line.
It's a budget line, and if you want anything beyond that, then here's a hardcover for you. So no, I get it. I do get it.
Also, too, so Tommy said that a lot of the DC books that are coming out is they'll take it over Marvel's X-Men, Spidey Omnibus 100. But I mean,
lately DC's been hitting the sweet spot. They really have.
They have, but I mean, we've also gotten pretty much every single Marvel thing that we've wanted in Omni for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, they're playing catch up, to be fair.
Where I'm like, I can't think of any everything that I've wanted from Marvel. They've printed in Omnibus, and they're on my shelves now. I can't think of something where I'm like, man, I really need, this and that. And
yeah, I have noticed that pattern as well, that this year my purchasing went down because the things that I absolutely, on pain of death, lustfully in my heart would die on a hill for, a lot of them have come out. But then DC came roaring back to life. It's like, oh, I'll buy this stuff and bankrupt myself. Yeah.
Right. I'm trying to figure out, do I want to spend all the money on these, Batman because I have all of my Batman by Tom King single issues stuffed in a backpack that my mom bought me like 6 years ago or 7 years ago.
Must be an enormous backpack.
It is a very big backpack. It's very much filled to the brim. It's got like 90 something issues in there because I double dipped on some of those too. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we have seen that. Jess, we do have a super chat. Could you tell us about the Caza hardcover in the thumbnail of today's stream, if you have any word on that? Or maybe Kurtis can. Okay.
Looky.
Yes.
Here comes the cookie.
This is a big book. This is originally a French series way back in the day that by this guy Caza, who is a very influential comic book artist in Europe. And this book is about the far future, like the year 10,000, where the Earth has stopped spinning, and so half of the world is in dark all the time, and half of the world is in light. And there's just battle and war over territory and resources and stuff. There's a lot of just fantastic art. It's a lot of swords and sorcery type stuff. Very fantasy. There's science fiction elements in here with robots and whatever, and there's also a lot of erotica elements as well. So there's something for everybody in here, and this series spans something like 30 years. So there's a difference in the style of artwork as well. Toward the beginning, it's a lot more kind of Mobius inspired, and then when you get to the end stuff, it's a little, I don't know, it changes a little bit, but it's still pretty good. Yeah, it's really, really good. So the artist is Caza, and then the book is called Arcady and the Lost Titan.
I actually did get a request to review that book, and so it's on my wish list. But it's an expensive book for me to just get and review. But you actually sold me on the concept with everything you just said. That sounds like a book that I'd really enjoy, and not just.
It's fantastic. It's yeah. I had the pleasure of working with Humanoids actually on the Kickstarter that they did. I got to build their Kickstarter for them, so it was really neat to experience it. I've never blindly opening pages. The erotica is not enough. It's not heavy enough to have any sort of really big warning in there.
Oh well, that is now I'm less interested, so that is a shame.
But if you are interested in getting Caza, and if you live in Europe, you can check out Walt's Comic Shop, which is based in Berlin, Germany. They do have the pre-order prices at the cheapest rates for all Marvel and DC books in the EU, with a flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, along with bulletproof packaging. They also offer a superb collection of new titles out of print books. So just head over to Walt's Comic Shop for great deals and rare titles. If you use the code Nearman Condition at checkout, you will get free shipping on your first order of over €40. Walt's Comic Shop for the fight. I don't remember the ring. Somebody said
You almost had it.
Your reliable source for Omnis and collected editions in Europe. Ding.
Nice.
Flawless.
Oh, my head hurts because I was like, I forgot the jingle right as I was saying it.
Have you read Hard Bargain?
No, I've not read Hard Bargain yet, but I also put together that Kickstarter. I haven't received my copy of that one yet.
Is that an erotica title? Or
No, it's awesome.
No, it's not.
I did a review and overview of it, and then I got a nice response from the artist. It's a supernatural private investigator story set in 1940 Los Angeles. And the stuff he has to go through dealing with supernatural underworlds, demons, and things like that, set in a very crime noir LA. I thought it was great, and I did a review on it, and I put it up on my Instagram, and I thought it was nice. The artist reached out to me, and that was really cool. I backed the Kickstarter, so. But I think it's coming out. I think it just come out in paperback last week, but it's definitely worth people looking for. It's so far it's in my top 3 books of the year. I know it's early, but
That's awesome. Yeah, no, it looks beautiful. The artwork is just amazing.
yeah, Dana, thank you. Yeah, it's really good. The story's really well written. He has a gal Friday that seems to have a the private investigator has a kind of a supernatural gal Friday, and then he has a supplier of like magical charmed bullets that he can use out in the field against demons. And this guy that runs the shop is actually an ancient being, and death comes to visit him every night and in his shop, and the private investigator waits around so he can ask Death a question. And the way Death is drawn is really beautiful. I think that book is really, really good. I was very happy with that Kickstarter, and I think people should give it a chance. It's a humanoids book, but I don't want it to fly under the radar. That's why I made a review of it.
Interesting. Also, another question for Kurtis. Have you read Jasper Jubenville's Caza tribute comic?
No, I haven't. I'll have to check that out. Thanks.
Interesting indeed. Oh my gosh. I'm not even going to bother asking.
What's
The floor is yours, my friend.
What's really funny is that Max in the chat has been going, I can see Lars is churning over in his head how to answer this question. And that's exactly what was going on, because I was like, how do I answer this question in a sort of family-friendly way that Omar won't kick me off the panel for?
Milo Manera,
I'm not
Guido Creepex.
I'm not sure we should really get into that full force. But I will say this. Isn't it funny how standards have changed so mightily with accessibility? Okay, because I will say that back in the day when we didn't have the internet and so on, and so if you were interested in adult things, you couldn't access them. You couldn't get at them. There was no internet, no nothing. And so New Teen Titans, what I do remember in particular is that I think it's issue 28. There's a scene, and again, this is New Teen Titans here for pity's sake, where Wonder Girl and Starfire are having a conversation among friends like you do. They're catching up like girls. And like in the midst of this, Troy has decided to have a shower. Okay. And like they just keep talking, and there she is, just casually showering and toweling off in front of Starfire and so on. And I remember in this panel, you can see a little bit of Donna's side boob. Okay. And like at the time, that was ludicrously exciting. I mean, if you were a very young boy growing up in Story City, Iowa, I mean, that little glimpse was like, whoa, in a comic book. So yeah, how times have changed. How times have changed.
We've all been there, Lars. We've all been there.
we both.
That's why we read comic books. Witchblade,
for the side boob.
Yeah.
Evergreen and Rock. We'll call it near mint. We'll call it.
Green Gen 13. That comic when it came out was like the most titillating ever.
Oh dear. But of course, as with a lot of things, like those little glimpses you get are actually more titillating than like seeing everything. It's more exciting that way. Yeah. Okay. Well, I tell you what, we'll see if we can talk Omar into a panel called Near Mint Condition After Dark, and we will more thoroughly review.
We will share our thoughts there. Real quick before I get to the super chat, Lars, were you in on that foul obit leading up the century with Marvel?
Yes. That fake. What I think you're referring to is the gag that the century had been revised out of history. There was this lost Stan Lee character, and like everyone sort of had to go along with this joke that there was this character, the Stan Lee creation, that'd been forgotten about. If that's what one I think you're referring to, I recall it getting kind of fumbling and awkward because it was difficult for people to maintain this pretense. And like, I think they actually told Stan Lee that if he got a question about this, he was supposed to feign ignorance and sit there and go, "Oh gosh, I've forgotten all about that," or something like that. The joke was a bit difficult to pull off on all fronts. But yeah, no, I do remember that pretty vividly. Yeah.
Interesting stuff. I've never heard about that before.
Yeah, well, because the idea that the Sentry's teammates had forgotten him, and so like they similarly tried to act like he'd been purged from real life history, which is an odd take. But yeah, there we go. The Sentry.
All right. Let's get to the super chats.
Yes, we have some more super chats here.
We do. Thank you, John, for the $10. Let me go ahead and also share my screen while I am at it to give people more of an idea as to what we are talking about. Any thoughts on the Superman City of Tomorrow compendium and Superman Our Worlds at War Omnibus Volume 1? Double dipping and how you may need to get both to get everything. It seems like a needled mess. So let me go ahead and share my screen as to the difference between both of them. Okay. Oh, here we do have the City of Tomorrow compendium, which does come out on the 22nd of July. So very, very close. A lot closer than honestly.
Remove the comment.
Oh, yes. Let me go ahead and remove the thing. 1 second. Okay. So this is going to be $59.99, collecting Superman 151 to 159, Adventures of Superman 573 to 581, Action Comics 760 to 768. Superman the Man of Steel 95 to 103, and Superman Y2K number 1 for $60. On the other hand, we do have the Our Worlds at War Omnibus, Volume 1, Prelude to War, coming out on the 11th of November of this year. This is going to collect Superman 151 to 154, 159, 165, and 170 to 171, Adventures of Superman 576, 586, and 592 to 593, Action Comics 763, 777, and 779 to 780, Man of Steel 98, 109, and 114 to 115, Superboy 89, Wonder Woman 171, Superman Y2K number 1, Superman Metropolis Secret Files number 1, Lex 2000 number 1, Our Worlds of War Secret Files number 1 for Superman, Young Justice, Batman, and Green Lantern.
So is the issue here that they skipped issues like, for instance, Superman 155 to 158?
Yeah. Yes, and they include like this specific Our Worlds at War Omnibus will have the full Our Worlds at War event, where it seems like the City of Tomorrow compendium will not.
So when they say something doesn't have everything, they're not concerned about the actual event. They just want an unbroken run of issues.
You're correct.
Well, I was going to say, what is the rationale for those issues being missing here? Are they not? Do they not really contribute to the event?
From what I understand, no.
Well, then I don't know. I feel like this takes a Superman expert beyond me, but
We'll ask Mark Wade.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, because when we say, well, getting all of it, the first question would be, is all of it actually that relevant? I do understand the frustration of them not moving in step, but
but also they're not for the same market. I mean, one's an omnibus
No.
and one's a paperback, and so they're for two different markets. You don't, and this one says, I don't know.
I think at the end of the day is that they are for two different markets. So if it's double dipping, it's like, well, it's two different ways. It depends on how vital those issues are. I know that so I bought all the Starman omnibuses, and then the Starman compendium. I think there's 1 to 3 issues in there that aren't in the omnibuses, and I've just decided, well, that's okay, because they're not that vital to the series. Yeah.
I'm looking, just looking at quick synopses. I mean, a lot of the issues that are missing in here, they're random Jeff Loeb, Ed McGuinness adventures with Superman in Smallville, Superman versus a villain, that don't really have anything to contribute to the event. So perhaps,
But wait. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep up here. So what is? Oh, so 151. Okay. I guess we just ascertain how important are they, because maybe they're not that important. But yeah, it's two different markets.
Two different markets, two different. Because you're getting an entire status quo for one. The omnibus seems like they just want it to be, hey, we have an Our Worlds at War event.
Yeah.
collect it all.
2 different markets represented in one single person.
Do you feel in conflict with yourself?
I already have the City of Tomorrow trades, and I will be getting the Prelude to Our Worlds at War, and happily read them both together.
But you're gonna buy all of this.
Our Worlds at War?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I'm a Superman knucklehead. I will buy anything Superman,
Yeah.
anything Batman, remember? And
No,
Harley
I know.
Quinn.
I know. Yeah, the knuckleheads will buy it all, and I said it with love and affection.
And yeah. And Emma Frost.
I would definitely say
That's what Marvel always says. Oh, those knuckleheads will just buy them all.
They're talking about me.
is that the next near mint condition shirt that we're adding to the shop?
Knuckleheads?
Those
Marvel
knuckleheads.
Knuckleheads will buy it all. Good.
Yeah, I would definitely say kind of, Adam. I would equate it to that, even if it's not like the full equivalent of it. So
Yeah, it sounds like it has other heroes' Worlds at War issues in it.
Because it's an Our Worlds at War omnibus.
Well, this, and it also says it's Our World at War prelude, right? So it's all of the, like, it doesn't have to have all of the issues, because if it's just the prelude, if they're just building to the story, they're only going to put in the actual relevant stuff that's coming up to the story. So every issue doesn't need to be there. It says Prelude Volume 1. Does that mean there's going to be Prelude Volume 2? Or is Volume 2 going to be the actual event?
Volume 2 will be the event.
Okay.
Yeah, you talk about numbering. There's where leaving off the numbering would have made sense. Have a release that's prelude, and then have a release that's the thing. Yeah.
Like they did with the No Man's Land Omnis.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Look at that. Our stream says thank you.
Right.
And hopefully you have a good weekend too, Jaggernaut. Hopefully we have entertained thus far on the 1 hour and 15 minutes that we have been here. Do we also have opinions on extremely big page counts for thick trade paperbacks? Because they are getting insane to the point where it's gonna be like this. It's gonna be a phone book. Like you can legitimately say, like, it reminds me of Yellow Pages.
Which one is 1,600 pages?
I think all of the ones that were displayed on the catalog were in around like Justice League Dark. Justice League Dark New 52, Green Lantern. And then the most recent one that came out, or the other one. Anyways, all the ones that got put on the catalog were over 1,500 pages.
They're way too big. That's the reason why. One of the reasons why I don't buy Omnis is because I don't want to read a book that is that big. I don't want to have to hold it in my hands. I'd rather it be broken up into smaller parts. This Caza book is like 600 pages or something. Like, let me see what this is. This is 500 pages. So this is not as big as a DC Finest, but they use thicker paper. The paper on a 1,600 page book is going to be so thin in order to keep it, at least somewhat manageable. Because if you think about it, if this is 500 pages, then a 1,600 page book is going to be 3 times the size. They have to use really, really, no muscle skin. It's not a muscle. Well, I mean, yes, true. I don't have muscles, but it's a comfort thing. It's like, it's also just an intimidation. I don't want to start a book if I don't think I can finish it. And a 1,600 page book is a commitment that I'm maybe not willing to go for. I can do 500 pages for sure. I can do 600 pages. But when you get beyond that, beyond 1,000 pages, it's like, I'm probably not even going to start that.
That's the threshold. Yeah. Well, go ahead, Jess. I'm sorry.
I just real quick, I don't have a problem with like Justice League Dark Rebirth that's over 1,500 pages. I have a lap pillow that I put it on, so I don't have a problem. The issue that I would have in a compendium is, one, is the binding going to hold up on something like that? And 2, what's the spine going to look like after you get done reading 1,600 pages? Is it, I know spine technology has kind of improved. I did an overview of the Fatale compendium, and it didn't get all folded up on the spine, but 1,600 pages? That sounds like an accordion file to me. It just sounds like it's going to have breaks in the spine, and I'd worry about the binding. That's my concern, not the. That's really my concern.
Yeah,
The book, the glue in the paper is very pliable these days, and it probably will be okay until it gets older and the glue becomes more brittle. So if you're reading your book right away, then I think you'll probably be okay, unless you're really being violent with it. Okay, so look, James, if I have to buy extra material and extra contraptions in order to read a book, I don't want to read that book.
But dude,
right.
it's so comfortable.
Well, yeah, I have that on my wish list.
It's my laptop pillow too, so it doubles as a laptop pillow and an Omni reader.
Jess, if you can believe me,
I do.
I use my Pokemon plushies.
I totally believe that.
Yeah, I think I told you that. Yeah,
I absolutely believe that. They're double duty.
like sometimes my parents will go in the living room and they'll see like, this big old giant plushie. Like they're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, I show them the book. Like, "Oh, you're reading. Okay, never mind." And then I move along.
Let's dial back on what you do with your plushies in the comfort of your own bedroom. Okay, it's
that's part of the After Dark erotica.
Yeah, I know. We need to show some dignity here. Okay, so it depends on the compendium, because recently I read the Paper Girls compendium, and yes, it's true, the Sex Criminals compendium, with no evident damage to the spine. But yeah, this is a concern. Well, on the other hand, yeah, I don't know. I wonder what percentage of omnibus collectors just hit that wall of like, well, these things are kind of awesome, and I love having them, but the size of them bleeds out some of the fun. I mean, it just does. As grateful as I am to have like Justice League International 3 Omnibus, because that material is probably not going to get collected anywhere else. You realize trying to read it just isn't fun. And they, again, I think Kurtis is right that for me, that 900,000 page threshold is about where it is. Because like I actually have the Justice League Dark Omnibus, and I'm like, am I just buying this because it's a brick that looks great on the shelf? I mean, I've read them. I've read it. The story.
Both of them are thick. New 52 and Rebirth. Both of them.
Yeah, and you are just you just have to admit that trying to read these suckers is just not as delightful as it could be. I don't know.
I like it. It's my Mount Everest.
Oh, it is. Okay, you like it. You like it thick and hard. Okay.
Oh wow.
Okay, phrasing.
Note to people getting ready to cancel this channel. That was not.
No, it's not. Lars is doing Omar's job for him. I woke up at 2:30 in the morning today because my Charmander fell on my face. Like I have 9 plushies in my room that are all 24 inches or bigger, and they get to you.
They come alive at night.
They do. I'm not even going to answer that question.
I may have told the story before, but dolls can be very terrifying. And my mother had this doll collection, okay? And particularly if the dolls don't have any eyes, I mean, they become these soulless demon creatures that are just terrifying. And so my wife and I went to stay with my mother, and she said, well, the only double bed is in my bedroom, so I'll take the spare room, and you have my bedroom. I'm like, okay, fine. But her bedroom is like surrounded with dolls. Okay, so we're lying there and like they're all looking at us in the middle of the night, and then in particular there was this little sailor doll in front. Okay, and like in the morning I got up to go to the bathroom, and somehow in the night the sailor doll's head had shifted. It was like the doll behind it had laid hands on it and like snapped its neck.
I have no doubt that actually happened.
And I said, I come back from the bathroom. My wife says to me, "Did you move the doll?" I'm like, "Why would I have moved the doll? Why?" Yeah, no, it can be terrifying.
Yeah,
I followed you to the bathroom.
I'm with 21 Roy. Yeah,
there's a doll room in the house on the rock, and that is freaking terrifying as well. I promise you.
Definitely is. Here's a question from Max that I actually think is a pretty nice one. McFarlane Toys do these statues based on classic Marvel covers, but they're mostly male. Which classic covers with a female character would you like to see represented as a statue?
She-Hulk. Totally. This one is my first runner-up. I have it displayed, and Addie Granoff, She-Hulk. I want that statue bursting through the whole deal. Yes, good question, Max. Put this out. I'm getting it.
You have your pick. I think he's referring to Uncanny.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
That's not a bad one at all. That
How about
would be a
this
great
one?
cover.
This one worked very well. No, it would work very well, actually. What else is there? Black Widow by George Perez from Marvel Fanfare. That would work pretty well.
You know what I'd like as a statue is Kitty Pryde going, Professor X is a jerk.
I'd love that. Yes.
I would
not a cover, but yes.
not a cover, but boy, everybody would buy it.
Do you need a little word balloon above it, though? It can't just be her
balloon.
It can't just be her standing there pointing. That'd be a little odd.
Yeah, you need the word balloon. I saw.
How about Harley Quinn farting?
I will not buy that.
No, oh god.
It did come out this year. I saw somebody talk about it earlier in chat. It did come out this week.
Yeah,
and
it's on DC Infinite as well.
That is the one issue. That is a bridge too far for me. I am not a fan of bathroom humor, and you do that to my girl Harley, I am absolutely not buying it.
Yeah.
No.
It I don't know. I hate to come across as a prude, but it did feel like a
no, it's gross.
Yeah.
It really is just the lowest common denominator. Ugh, I find it offensive.
I mean, on the other hand, maybe it shows that they're willing to run with ideas and push. Sometimes when you push the envelope, it doesn't work, but your other ideas are pretty strong. So I guess they're mixing. Oh yeah, no.
I can't wait to see what comes after this. Then,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How do you follow that up? What's the sequel to that? Oh no, it is not. Oh no.
Ew.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Question for some of the other panels on here. Have any of you read Steve
for the oldies?
You're in the right place. No, you're in the right place.
I bet Dom even has read this.
I've heard about it. I've heard stories about it. I've heard my comic book store owner about it. I've never read it.
Steve Gerber is delightfully wacky. His stories are always unique and entertaining and engaging. Like his stuff on Howard the Duck and why am I blanking all of a sudden? But yeah, his Defenders is really good. It's definitely one of the best Defenders runs of the classic Defenders, probably the modern Defenders too.
Mm-hmm. I've read Al Ewing and Javi Rodriguez as Defenders. I've loved the two series. It's a shame that they're never going to make another series about it, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead. Lars.
Yeah. No, I agree with Kurtis. No, Steve Gerber is very, it's very imaginative, very wacky, very off the beaten path. I guess, a lot of that 70s stuff for me. I mean, again, I'm of the opinion that truly timeless comics only start to kick in with John Byrne, Chris Claremont X-Men. After that point, and so like a lot of that 70s stuff for me, like it's even if it's good, it's of the 70s, so I'm less interested. Mm-hmm. But no, I mean Gerber had a very fertile imagination, absolutely.
Question from Ivan: if Superior Spider-Man gets a modern era epic line, which I would assume it probably will, to furbish out the complete collections that they did way back when, do you think that it could continue up until the 2023 series? I haven't released anything in that recent epics yet, so I'm unsure.
Honestly, I hope that the Superior Spider-Man stuff is just collected in the Amazing Spider-Man Epic Collections, because I know they actually changed the name of the title to Superior Spider-Man. But could you imagine the Spider-Man Epic Collections going from volume 23, ending on a cliffhanger where he turns into Dr. Octopus, and then volume 24, he's just back to normal, and all of that stuff just there's just like a little text thing. Oh, by the way, Dr. Octopus was Spidey for a little while. I'd rather just have it all in one line, and then you could do a Superior Spider-Man Modern Era Epic Collection with just the 2000 23 stuff or whatever it is, because that stuff is its own starting point.
Omar's out of town, man. What am I supposed to do about it?
He's not some random Dom guy.
Yeah.
He's the Dom guy.
No, exactly right.
He's Dom of
I bet
X,
that's sarcastic.
not Dom of Y, not Dom of Z or Z, as you would say in Canada.
No, absolutely not.
Oh my
Zed.
God.
Nice.
Um,
Can't
drop the
spell
little...
random without Dom.
That's true. I need to add that to my
Digital editions. Big topic there. I will ask Kurtis, don't you find that there's no digital versions of DC Finest just baffling? I think they're just leaving money on the table with that one.
yeah.
I'm not
Agreed.
exactly sure what they're thinking is on that, but I don't know what DC's normal digital practices are. Do they usually bring out digital copies of everything?
Just specifically the trade paperbacks of their lines. Like if so, they put out all of their deluxe editions and their thin trade paperbacks onto the DC Universe Infinite app. So for all the people who buy that premium version, it's in a specific category called volumes and omnibus. Believe it or not, they call their trade paperbacks omnibuses on the DC app.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, I have the DC app here. Okay. Well, this is You're
Which,
right.
by the way, last time I checked, you can't get that app in Canada. It is not accessible to us
You're
up
kidding.
here.
Oh no.
The DC app?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
What?
So Dom is right. If you
maybe that's changed recently.
if you pay for Ultra, which of course I do, then yeah, you can go in here and so Mike Grell Green Arrow, you get a choice of single issues, or it will give you the TPB volumes or omnibuses. Okay, so that is good. I don't know if DC Finest is in DC Infinite or not. It's certainly not on Kindle. I don't think it is. It's definitely not for sale, and I don't know if you get it free with Infinite. I don't think you do.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you are. Which I don't know what the thinking is there. I think they're just shooting themselves in the foot.
MP says they're in Vancouver and they have DC Infinite.
Okay, good. Oh, I'm in Vancouver as well. No, that's fine. Then I honestly haven't paid attention for a long time. When it first came out, it probably wasn't. It wasn't in Canada because I tried. But if it is now, then I'll definitely check that out. That's great. Thank you.
It's a great value, especially
well, I love Marvel Unlimited. I love that.
Yeah.
Now, again, for me, the rule is always the more disposable I deem something, the more likely I am to buy it on digital. I have to actively love something to want to buy it. Again, I'm very restrained and disciplined in I only have 600 collected editions. So for me to buy a physical copy, but digital, if I read and enjoy it, that's fine.
I think I can agree with you on that, Lars. I think there's a lot of comics that I will personally never buy, get in physical. I'll never buy, for example, Batman: The Widening Gyre by Kevin Smith, no matter how many people tell me to be a completionist. Because I do think sometimes you have to lend yourself to say you do have stopping points in your collection, and you're not obviously going to love everything that you read.
Right. I think it's just time and space. Sorry to steal from Doctor Who. Also my budget only goes so far. The omnibuses only go so far, and also I don't want to have tons of stuff about the place. And I've been married, I've been living with someone for decades, and I don't want to overburden them either with all of my stuff. Again, another story I may have told before, but there was a point where I asked my wife, I'm like, look, I'm planning to live forever, of course, but if I collapse from a heart attack, do I have too much stuff? And she said, no. She says, I would just get one of your nerdy friends in here to inventory it and sell it, and it's fine. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because my father, I grew up on a horse farm, and he did not prepare for his demise with that horse farm, and we were stuck with it. So digital has its use, particularly sampling things. Sample something before you spend $150 on an omnibus or whatever.
I will not disagree with that. Also, John, thank you for the super chat. Thank you again. I kind of want Penguin Random House to buy Valiant so the gold key characters can come back. Hopefully, Alien Books contract would be bought out.
Yeah.
Didn't I hear that IDW is going to be publishing the Valiant stuff?
Mm-hmm. They are.
Publishing
They're going
what?
to be like a sub company.
They're partnering with Random House to publish the Valiant Alien books. I
Oh,
can't imagine that that's going to make anybody any large amount of money if they're having to split.
no.
Now they're going to split the revenue between IDW and Random House and Valiant plus royalties to creators and stuff. Like that's
That's odd.
um that's really cutting it, yeah, the pie in so many ways.
Unless they just have an arrangement that Alien just handles production and IDW is the distributor. I mean, or sorry, I apologize, the publisher. That could be the case because, like here in Iowa, down the road we have Meredith. Meredith produces Time Magazine, but it doesn't own it. So an arrangement like that actually could make sense. But
They're the
Curtis is
IP
right.
holders, though.
Chris is right. From the outside, it seems a bit odd.
Yeah, even if they're just producing the content, they're still the IP holders, though, and they would I would imagine at least get, I don't know, if not a 50% deal, something close to that.
Well, yeah. Well, Valiant's also in the odd place that, like, it's IP. They need to keep publishing for trademark renewal, if nothing else.
Mhm.
So they have to keep trying at it. As long as we're having this topic, I have to say, 'cause I do love Valiant. I have some of the omnibuses. How disappointing was that Eternal Warrior omnibus? I love Eternal Warrior, but the production on that, well, the horses that died, you did often have to sell them for glue. That Eternal Warrior omnibus was noticeably shoddy, and
Production wise,
yeah, it didn't have a dust jacket. The paper stock was not great, and it has just a non dust jacket cover that, I mean, you read it and it starts noticeably taking on wrinkles, which an omnibus really shouldn't do.
Like the actual pasted cover took on wrinkles. Like I'm not a stickler for, you don't I don't have to have a dust jacket. Like this Caza book doesn't have a dust jacket. It is great.
So I sat down and read this, and I realized that there's all these wrinkles. Oops. Well, I guess you can't see it too well here, but, like, this is noticeably wrinkled. This is noticeably wrinkled. I mean, it looks like a red copy. No dust jacket. The paper,
but the content's good, right?
The paper. What? I'm sorry.
You like the content, correct?
I love Eternal Warrior.
Yeah,
I love it.
I thought you were saying that was disappointing.
No.
Oh, okay.
The paper stock is not great. Well, because Valiant has put out omnibuses before. The Shadow Man omnibus, Archer and Armstrong, all this, and this one is noticeably inferior. And I don't know if it was in the shift over to Alien, and they had these orders, and they were just like, well, it's only going to sell so much, so we'll just shotgun it out at, we'll dial down the production values, shotgun it out, make what we can. But no,
where it was printed
in Canada. No,
Vancouver.
Vancouver.
Hey, we have very reliable printers up here.
It's a very cheap thing.
China. It's printed in China.
Okay, well, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. The Clover uses a Canadian printer who's just phenomenal. A Chinese printer who's just phenomenal. But yeah, I mean, if they wanted to save money and go with someone cheaper and do away with the dust jacket, then yeah, the quality would probably suffer for sure.
No, the weird thing is, I know some people at Valiant, so I was like, "Can you do Eternal Warrior? Can you do Eternal Warrior? Can you do Eternal Warrior?" And then, I don't know.
When was Eternal Warrior originally published?
Oh, I mean, with all the other
90s.
Valiant stuff in the early 90s. And
Yeah.
Should I do it?
He had a lot of stops along the way. Dan had planned all these different toy store stops along the way. I mean, I can definitely call him.
I think you should. Let's do it. Put him on speaker.
Okay.
Interrogate him
See
in
what he
front of
says.
hundreds of people as to. No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
You can go straight to voicemail. That's a good sign. He wasn't like, oh, Jess, whatever.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The
Yeah.
person
Understandable.
is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Hey, dude. We need to know what happens when YouTube actually cancels you mid-show. We're having trouble getting back up on the air. Can you give us a call? Thanks.
Sorry, it's just a voicemail.
Good. Good. Good.
Oh, I'm sorry. The number you called is no longer in service. Oh my goodness. What can we do about it? Here's a question that was asked earlier that I thought was pretty interesting. One specifically designed to Kurtis, but we can obviously all answer it. If you were Marvel, what would be your first choices for a compendium line?
Compendium line.
Well, I think the books that lend itself the best to the compendium ones are like the ultimate lines, where it's just one, which I guess applies to all modern comics now. One big long story. I don't think that you need like maybe all of Steve Ditko's Spider-Man in a compendium. It maybe doesn't lend itself as well, but or maybe it does. I don't know. But I'd probably go with the Ultimate Spider-Man.
Well, that is
And you definitely only want them about 500 pages, right? You don't
Well,
want
that's an epic. I want the epic collections to be 500 pages. They're not. They're under 400, I think. But if we had I mean, I'm not personally a fan of the compendiums, but if we were to have a 6,000 page book, Ultimate Spider-Man's going to be the one.
Yeah, that would sell really well, I would think. Yeah.
You guys have any other?
I mean, the thing is, it's been noticed that in publishing, not just in comics, there are certain keystone titles that really make you all your money, and then there's like everything else. So I could only recommend that Marvel goes with its strengths. Maybe John Byrne Fantastic Four, maybe Roger Stern Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man would be better. Frank Miller Daredevil. Actually, Frank Miller Daredevil compendium would sell really well.
It would,
I would think. Just go with the stuff that keeps selling, because that's where the money is.
I would start with Frank Miller Daredevil and commit to a Daredevil compendium line where you collect like from Frank Miller right up through Zdarsky is an awful lot of very good stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what I would.
I mean, DC has had extraordinary success with those $10 books. Holy cats!
Compact. Yeah.
Is that what we're talking about? Compact books?
No. I'm shifting topics here. But
okay.
I mean, yeah. But again, which they're not doing their particularly obscure titles when they lead with those. It's like Watchmen and Long Halloween and all sorts of stuff. But Jesus, they seem to be selling. I guess it's like, hey, the content's great and it's the right price. I'm in. There are still people who want cheap and dirty.
Yeah. I think having like the 2000s cosmic line of Marvel would be great to have in compendium. Like the War Kings, Realm Kings, all that stuff. All the DNA stuff. Any Daredevil, honestly, like not only Frank Miller, like Bendis, Brubaker, Wade. I think honestly would be really cool to have in compendium. Make it like all your solid hits. Have that be as like your main focal point.
Go with
like
your
DC's
strength.
doing it. Might as well try to do the same.
Yeah.
But nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, and even the DC compendiums, again, they're not particularly obscure. They are doing the Dr. Fate one, which I'm thrilled about, and I'm looking forward to that one. But they tend to stick with well, that's not entirely true. I mean, Starman, Sandman Mystery Theater. But yeah. Go with your strengths, Marvel.
Go with your strengths indeed. Here's a, I guess, transitional question. If you ever want to see Civil War in an omnibus form, how would you want to have it? Would you want to have Civil War in just one, maybe some of the tie-ins? How would you guys map it out if you wanted to? Such a weird question.
Well, yeah, I don't actually like Civil War, but I believe Kurtis, it does remain Marvel's bestseller ever. I think. which is pretty shocking. I would assume in omnibus form you would want all the crossover issues, because like the Infinity Gauntlet compendium, or sorry, omnibus. It's like 6 issues of Infinity Gauntlet and then like everything else. But I would assume that's what people want. So if you're gonna do it in omnibus form, go for it.
I think all of those hardcovers, when Civil War came out with the oversized hardcover series, and they collected all of like the Spider-Man ones in one volume and the Frontline all in one volume, if all of those were folded into an omnibus series with a great reading order, then I think that'd be good. I actually really like a lot of those tie-ins more than I like the actual series itself. I was reading through the new Avengers Epic Collection that has those Civil War tie-in issues, and they're all great.
Yeah.
They're all like it's not as much. There's some action in it, but a lot of it is just kind of talking about the moral implications about siding with one side or the other, and the way that they write it, I thought was quite engaging and fascinating. So yes, put in all of those extra issues. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Good man.
So someone's wanting me to do a walkthrough of my, discipline collection. Yeah, but then if you saw what I own, you'd be able to judge me. It's and I have come to accept it. You get old and the brain has less neuroplasticity. But I've come to accept like that walkthroughs of people collections. Man, they are popular. Man, people do want them. I wouldn't think that just like walking through my collection, showing you the mass-produced stuff that so many other people owns would be that interesting. But I guess maybe it is to some people. When I talk about being a non-completist, again, it's frequently not that I'm like, I'll pick up volume 1 and not volume 2 and then pick up volume 3. It's that I go for creator runs, like I've got Grant Morrison X-Men. I don't really have the stuff around it. I have, Peter. Yes, exactly. Like you do. It's just, there's phases of it I really like, and then I just stop.
All right, let's listen to him.
Hey, buddy, what's happening? Can you help us get back on the air? What? You're breaking up.
Said I got your voicemail. You said that the YouTube. What happened?
Well, Lars said something about erotica on the air, and then all of a sudden we lost the feed.
I don't know you did it. You better not.
Hi, Omar. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
How are you doing? You're live on Near Mint Condition.
Oh, thank you. First time caller, long time viewer. Thank you all so much. Man, she made me scared. I was like, what? And of course I was going to guess it was Lars that got me canceled for saying something ridiculously stupid. Okay, good. So everything's okay? You guys are live?
Yeah, everybody misses you, loves you, and hopes you're having a fun time.
Yes.
Everybody.
Yeah,
That's
except
never happened even on my live streams.
except for Max and that one other guy that is racist that always emails you.
That was you. That's you, Jess Brad. All right.
Be live.
I didn't give him your address. All right, thank you guys.
Okay,
Go
have fun.
All right. Bye.
I think we actually made him panic.
I have texted him to tell him you are a big liar.
Oh my gosh! No, we didn't end on a low note. We got the show up and running. I think it's been successful.
This is a high note.
Indeed. See, look at that. Lars says something about erotic on stream, and suddenly 100 new streams.
I know. Again, play with your strengths. Go with your strengths. Well, look, sometime I don't know who can help me. I guess I could sometime do a walkthrough of my collection. There's another thing is like, I don't think so highly of myself that I think people would be all that interested in the books that I've got. But I don't know. I can think about doing it. Kurtis, have you ever done a walkthrough of your collection on video?
No, I haven't really done that. No, people have asked that as well, but it's like, man, that's going to take so much time.
It'll take less time for me, admittedly. I have about 15% of what you own. But yeah. Jess, have you ever done a video walkthrough?
I did in 2017, and I will do another one here. Excuse me. Actually, a couple weeks ago, I was live
on a Friday afternoon, and I did sort of an impromptu live tour, but it was with my laptop, and so it wasn't like I could focus on everything with my phone. But I gave kind of a tour then. I showed both my comic rooms. I do need to do an updated tour. People do like to. Yeah, I did do a walkthrough back then. You're right. People do like to see those. They like to see what you have and maybe like statues, action figures, things that you have on display, posters.
Yeah.
Like
Well, yeah,
that.
this is the thing. Like, I don't pretend that what I have on display is anything special. I mean, it's all, yes, there we go. So, yeah.
This what you want to see? Walton Skizix.
Wow.
This is a 100-year-old comic strip called Gasoline Alley, and it's a newspaper comic strip, and it's one of my favorites, even though it's 100 years old. One of the selling points. It started off as I don't know where to start here. Gasoline Alley is a term used when cars first came into existence, like in the early 1900s. A bunch of car owners would have their cars in their garages, in the alley, they would all be buddies working on their cars together. And so the origins of Gasoline Alley was a comic strip that was making fun of car owners. And then eventually the characters got well known, and they kind of turned it into more of like just a family kind of a strip, where the main character, Walt Wallet, has a little baby that's dropped on his doorstep, and he names it Skizix. And from there, it turns into a guy who is a car owner who tries to raise a baby as if he is fixing a car. And the neat thing about Gasoline Alley is from that point on, all of the characters aged in real time. And so every day you get no, they're actually not. Walt Wallet is like 120 years old now. It's still in the comics. It's still running today. And other characters have come and gone for sure. But this early stuff by Frank King, I absolutely love. Fantagraphics, Drawn and Quarterly released like 7 volumes, and then they stopped because I don't think it sells that well because it's a 100-year-old comic strip. But it's just a really, really great slice of life strip. Amazing artwork. I love it.
Wowza.
That's insane. I have to add it to the list. To the
Yeah.
already other big.
Well, I'm sorry. No, pardon my extreme ignorance. Those collections there, like how rare are they? Are they custom made? Or
They are. A lot of them are out of print. They're so rare that I don't have one volume because they try to sell it for like $2,000 on the off.
$2,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
But some of them are still available. And the nice thing about these books is you don't have to get them in order. You can just buy one volume, and it's just a slice of life. You'll get the picture immediately, right away.
Yeah. No, I understand what the feed is saying about doing the walkthroughs. It's about the curation and the passion that we bring to them and the selection. I understand that. No, I do. It's just that, to me, it's just mass-produced stuff. I have to be careful what I say next, but I have been invited. There's a person of my acquaintance, and they've invited me this summer to come see their museum. And by museum, this is not something that's open to the public. By their museum, they actually mean they have a separate building. And there was mention of a gift shop. Again, this is not something that's open to the public. This is like their life's work. And I'm like, you have a museum that's not open to the public. Although my first question would be, how much of that is just mass-produced stuff? And how much of it is stuff that's truly, unusual? I don't know, but I guess that this is in Middle America somewhere. I guess that's where I'm going this summer. So yeah.
Oh, thanks for asking, Big Stu. Right after this on Omnidog's Vault, I'm having one of my friends, Ilan, come on, and we're talking about Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Hard Traveling Heroes, and our taste in music, specifically shoegaze. So thank you for asking.
What will you be eating while discussing this?
Sorry?
What will you be eating while discussing this?
Well, you notice my wife brought me a cup of coffee and a cookie, so
that's not going to last very long.
She is going to need to bring me something extra. So I'm hoping that she brings me something else and another cup of coffee because I'm starting to fade already.
Followed up with some ramen or something. Yeah.
That would be nice to eat. But on very fine condition, we are running a show tomorrow. To answer some of the.
You're actually on near mint condition. It's okay to call it VFC. I mean, it's okay to call it near mint condition.
No,
It's
it's
only
okay.
on my
It's
channel.
okay.
I've got
Omar gave me the keys to the channel, so we're okay with it. I know he's okay with it. So tomorrow, Kurtis is actually coming back on with Taylor and Omar to talk about the epic reprint poll at 2:30.
Exciting.
2:30 Pacific Standard Time, 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. On Monday, we do have Peter Crisis joining Omar to talk about the upcoming Marvel Omnis from August to January. And then I think a good chunk of us will be on Tuesday, apparently at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about the big books in the DC catalog.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
So
it's going to be a
there it is,
marathon. The way DC does it.
I technically could rebrand right now if I wanted to, Max, but I don't want to get sued. So
it's very fine condition. I love
yes,
it.
indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, after the show, after the
James,
show's over, head over to Jess's channel where he will be talking about the arrow and the weapon of mass destruction on Hal Jordan's middle finger on his right hand. So yes, indeed. And also, if you want to pick up that recent Green Lantern and Green Arrow Hard Traveling Heroes Omnibus that just was printed not too long ago, be sure to go to our sponsor here in America, cheapgraphicnovels.com, where if we get a flat shipping rate at $8, and if you tell us that we sent you, the next order will be shipped for free. That is cheapgraphicnovels.com, your number one reliable source for all of your collected editions here in the States.
Way better than expensivegraphicnovels.com.
Chronically overpriced. Graphicnovels.com.
No new plushies. They're in my other room, Javier, but I am planning on getting some more this year. That was. Yeah, see, this was just the intro. The real. I don't know. Like, I have. Well, actually, no. I am on spring break next week, but I know that other people they've got stuff going in the morning, so unfortunately, is what it is. All right, 5-minute warning. All right, we can answer some more questions if you guys would like us to. I know I definitely had a lot of fun this morning. Yeah, shoot us any questions, and hopefully we can answer them in the next 5 minutes. Omnidog, what are your thoughts on the Rams letting go of Cooper Kupp and signing Davante Adams?
I love the signing of Davante Adams. I am bittersweet about letting Cooper Kupp go. I feel like they could have tried to work out a contract. They could have rejiggered his contract to keep him, but I also get it that he's in his early 30s, often injured now. And I understand it from a business standpoint, but letting a player go like that, who's a leader in the heart of your offense, is difficult. But I love Davante Adams. So thank you for the question that only I care about in the entire YouTube stream right now.
I care, Jess.
Oh, yeah.
Who are these?
Talking about Ram V? Is that who you're talking about?
Ram V.
Is this comic?
Are they part of the Avengers or the Defenders, or who are these?
The Avenging Los Angeles Rams.
Of Strike Force Moratori.
The Strike Force Ramatory.
Part of Atari Force.
That's right, exactly. Yes, we do have. There is a spring sale that is going on. 1,300 collections on sale. Again, our sponsor, Cheap Graphic Novels. Check them out.
Yeah.
Lars, what are your plans for this week? Comic related, not museum.
So there's this little thing in this area called I think it's called QuadCon. And it's basically like a pop-up thing at local malls. It's a little comic book show, and it's here in Des Moines today at Merle Hay Mall. So if you're in the Des Moines area, come to Merle Hay Mall. There's a comic show there. They just go around to different. They were in Cedar Rapids, and today's Des Moines Day. So I'll go there. Not necessarily looking to buy anything, but it's always nice to look.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Just the one
It
omnibus.
just makes you feel better. It's a form of therapy, isn't it?
It's a good form.
Yeah.
Like comic shows, why not? No, it's just the one omnibus, Dana, and I don't the contents we don't know about yet. So we will have to wait and see for any sorts of that. Do you guys have a favorite device to read digital comics?
I use
like
my phone.
Seriously?
Yeah, I mean, I don't read digital comics very much, but when I do, I my phone's fine for that. I just turn it sideways and scroll up, and it doesn't bother me.
I have an iPad Pro that's 12-inch diameter that are the screen size that I love. It's great.
Yeah, I just have a standard iPad, which is like slightly smaller than a comic book page. And, I don't know, maybe I'm missing out on something compared to what Jess is reading on, but it's just too handy. It is too freaking handy. I can take it anywhere with me. And I've got Marvel Unlimited, and I've got DC Infinite, and I've got Kindle, and I'm ready to go. So yeah, some of that and reading in bed is wonderful.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. Standard iPad for me. I can't read comics on the phone. There's just no way.
Yeah, that's a little too small for me.
And some of the teenagers in my life, if they're getting interested in comics, I'm like, well, there's this sale on Kindle or whatever, and they're like, well, I only have my phone, and I'm like, ooh, that's gonna be rough. Yeah.
To answer the question, I used to have a Google Nexus 7 tablet when I was a kid. That's how I would read, my comics on, but it's way outdated now. I just recently found the tablet as I was cleaning out my desk yesterday afternoon, and I opened it up just to see like if there was still anything on it, and all of the apps are like way out of date. It's like, yeah, I need to buy a new tablet. So yeah, like Kurtis, I also read my comics digitally on my phone. It is what
I
it
like
is.
my comics small as can be. Like, who needs omnibuses? I want them teeny.
You want a little golden book of comics.
Well, thank you, Phil, for tuning in.
Oh.
No, we definitely had a lot of fun doing this. And then let's see a couple of our other questions. I'm going to ask Omar if I can do it on Near Mint. Because I do have right behind me. I think Jess has right behind me too. I do have all of the omnibuses. I had a lot of the single issues when I was a kid because my uncle gave them to me. I was in the Philippines. He introduced me to comics, and I showed these to him, and he was like, "Oh, that's so cool! You have, you're the comics, he gave me as a kid. Now I could buy them in hardcover." I want to do them at some point. I'm going to be asking Omar if I can do them on Near Mint. So definitely yes.
Yeah.
See if there are any other quickie. Yeah, so what son, what am I supposed to say? Like, that is the truth. Like, that is
Are you old enough to be on YouTube? Have your balls dropped. I mean, good grief.
Yes, I had a Google Nexus 7 when I was a kid. So yeah, it's time to upgrade.
I had a Commodore 64 when I was a kid.
Whoa, that's really going back.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy. And then one quick super chat. Anyone know if there will be a reprint of Pat Mills' Martial Law, or who owns the publishing rights?
That's a very good question. I was delighted when a collection came out of that because, it wasn't something you expect to see. I would assume it's boomerang back to either Pat or 2000 AD. They published that originally, didn't they? No. Who published Martial Law?
Pat Mills partners with Titan Comics a lot to publish his stuff. Also, what's the Rebellion might do it. I don't know who has the rights to Martial Law.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Who
I have
published?
no idea. Just had an abacus.
It was originally published by Marvel's Epic. Okay, well, it's published by Marvel's Epic and it's boomeranged around. Then I would assume that Pat and Kevin O'Neill have the rights.
Yeah, I mean that's all of the Epic stuff is creator owned, so
yeah.
they would definitely be the rights holders.
Yeah. I don't know how expensive that collection has gotten. If you can get it off eBay or what have you.
I actually have to hop, guys. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you for inviting me to be here. OmniDog's Vault. Go there next for fabulous comic book discussion and music. And I hope to get Lars and Kurtis on my show again. And Dom is always on my show, so it's great. But I definitely want to get Lars and Kurtis back on Batter Days in the Batcave. So thank you, everybody in the chat, and thank you for having me on today. This was great.
Always good to see you.
Check it out. Thank you,
Yeah,
Jess.
Jess.
And I think in that same form of fashion, because we have hit the 2-hour mark, we will also all be signing off. And I want to thank my two friends with me to be able to have a lot of fun here on the Saturday, throw around, and sometimes I guess even beat around the bush with Lars's questions. But I would like to thank these two for being on, and thank you to everybody else here for allowing me to substitute in for Omar and tuning in regardless. So thank you guys. Lars, where can they find you, I suppose?
Yeah, Lars Pearson, publisher and editor-in-chief of Mad Norwegian Press. Thank you, James. And we, as ever, do a lot of Doctor Who releases, and we have Doctor Who, our About Time series, putting every Doctor Who story in the political and social context in which it was made. And with Lance Parkin, I co-write a history, which is the definitive timeline to Doctor Who, over 1 million words. It's exhausting.
Indeed. And Kurtis, where can they find you, my friend?
EpicMarvelPodcast.com. I have a YouTube channel, and I also have a Facebook group where we just talk about epic collections all the time. Also have a DC Finest group that is on fire right now because of the recent DC Finest announcements, and a lot of people are talking about that stuff there. So a lot of good discussion. Thanks, Dom, for holding down the fort in Omar's absence. You did a good job, and especially reining all of us in when we needed to stop talking about certain subjects.
I try my best, but no, I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your lives to join me and entertain all of our epic folks here. And yes, I will check into that, because I think Apple, on top of the institution that I currently go to, they also offer double discounts. So I will have to check that out. But of course, I am Dom. I do help Omar run this channel to make sure that it somewhat stays or continues to stay afloat through all of its wins and sales. Once again, I want to thank everybody for being here, and again, listening to all of us. Take care, everybody, and please stay safe wherever you guys are.
Thank you all. Thank you very, very much.